Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest, and welcome to another episode of Morning Sip. Now, if this is your first time being here, woo, sorry. Morning Sip is where we spend time talking about what I want to talk about, and today that's going to be Final Fantasy 16. We're also going to touch a little bit on God of War. We're going to talk about Limbus Company and all the other games that I've been playing. Oh, Phantom Brigade as well. But right now, let's go ahead and dig in. So I don't know about you guys, but I have been inundated with Final Fantasy 16 everything. That's Final Fantasy 16 ads on like game review web pages that pop up on my phone. That's Final Fantasy 16 articles on Facebook, Final Fantasy 16 on YouTube. Like, it's just been popping up everywhere, and that's because Yoshi P has gone out and given a whole host of interviews, and a whole lot of news is being released. So I went through. If you guys didn't know, PlayStation Now did do like a whole 20-minute gameplay segment where you can see the actual gameplay, and I just wanted to talk about it for a little bit. And I considered putting the gameplay up in the background in this video. However, I didn't want to spoil any of you guys, and honestly, it was just more of what you've seen, which is like him running around pounding people with Titan fists. But let's go ahead and talk about kind of the features in the game. And one of the things that was released by Yoshi P in the interview is that the game is going to be about 35 hours long if you do just focus on the main story. That was something I was a little bit concerned about. I think most Final Fantasies have clocked in around 80 if you just follow the main story. So coming in at 35, I feel it's a little bit small. I was also really worried that it was going to be very Devil May Cry, and it does seem like that was confirmed a bit, since there are scores that are associated and combos that are associated with your character and with certain missions. So it does seem like there's going to be a very linear progression through the game. Now, they did say there's a hub area, there's an open world, but the open world is not going to be an open world that you explore and that you roam around in to kind of like discover dungeons and stuff. It's going to be more focused on getting quests from this hub area, and that'll send you to a dungeon, right? And that's how you kind of explore and get the loot from the dungeon. And that sounds really cool. And it's really interesting because they talked about the inspiration for the game. And they definitely talked about Devil May Cry, but they also talked about God of War a lot for their open world. And when I think about God of War, I don't necessarily think about an open world game. Yes, technically it's open world, but you aren't always like roaming and exploring things. You usually have quests and missions. Sorry, I'm really tired today. So it seems like, as a big fan of God of War myself, it seems like it may be actually pretty fun. And it seems like there may be a lot of content, because they did say if you do all the side quests and everything, you would look at 80 to 100 hours of gameplay. So I'm excited for that aspect of it, but I am just like cautiously optimistic. The music hasn't, like, I feel like I haven't heard the music yet. In the Awakening trailer, it really grabs you, and I think that's a standard Yoshi P style. But I'm hoping Soken does a really good job and doesn't make it too rock and roll. I love Soken in a variety of ways, but the one thing that tends to get me with Soken is he does lean more rock and roll in Final Fantasy 14. That does make a lot of the music iconic in many ways for Final Fantasy, but a lot of the times, like, that can actually ruin a boss fight for me, just because it doesn't feel like Final Fantasy in many ways. So it'll be interesting to see Soken's approach to this, and I do admire him in a lot of the other music that he does in the games, but I'm hoping that every boss fight isn't just going to be like hard rock and roll, especially with the DMC like mingling into Final Fantasy, right? Where we're seeing like Devil May Cry, which is something we haven't really seen in a Final Fantasy show up before. So I'm kind of like, ooh, like I feel like Final Fantasy 16 is like, I'm really excited for it, but I'm also like, Yoshi P, you better know what the F you're doing, because this could easily F things up. Like, this could easily just throw everything over the rails and like could literally tank Final Fantasy. Talking about tanking Final Fantasy, you guys see that the CEO of Square Enix is going to potentially get removed? That's great. I saw that's one of the things that popped up in the Final Fantasy 16 news, and I was just like, yeah, I'll take that. I'm happy with that. Square Enix NFTs are not where it's at, believe it or not. Crypto market here. Oh my god, I'm gonna put you guys to sleep with how much I'm yawning today. Talking about God of War, and actually Final Fantasy 16 real quick. Y'all see you got a dog companion? Being able to issue orders to the dog companion is super cool. But God of War, I'm actually playing God of War Ragnarok right now, really enjoying it. Taking my time. It's my game where like I'm done with all my chores and all my work for the day, and I just sit down and I chill downstairs and play God of War. Been enjoying it. God of War Ragnarok, I should specify. Loving that you can actually play as Atreus, which was really surprising to me. That's about the point where I'm at, is the first time you play as Atreus. Loving the story, loving the aspect of like Fenrir and other mythology that's kind of like showing up. For those that don't know, Fenrir, I believe, was Loki's son. Atreus is Loki, right? But Fenrir shows up as a dog, which, you know, commonly that's how he's represented in many like Final Fantasy games, and I'm sure in other games as well. So it's just very cool how they kind of synergize all the mythology together, as well as kind of like the lore, like the gaming lore as well. So I've been really enjoying that. I finished the last spell, which I did a video on. We've been playing Phantom Brigade. Now, if you guys don't know what Phantom Brigade is, it's a new tactical 3D mech game where everything's set on a 5-second timer. Basically, you take 5-second turns. You can see what the opponent's going to do for 5 seconds, and then you plan your turns according to those 5 seconds, right? Which is very cool. Very cool system. The game is goddamn hard. Holy cow, I cannot beat it. Like, it's not often that I get a tactical game where I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm getting destroyed. This game is really hard. I'll probably do a video on it. I know a lot of people struggle to even get past the first like end tutorial mission. And I'm just struggling to get past regular missions. Like, I just want to gear my mechs up. That's all I want to do. And I'm just getting obliterated left and right. And I'm like, I could adjust the difficulty setting. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to adjust the difficulty setting down. I'm not that type of player. You know, I must be doing something wrong. So that has been something that has been like, just like etched into my mind. And then we have the finale of The Last of Us, which happened yesterday, which was absolutely incredible. Everything you would want. Follows the game precisely. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are like, oh, this Ellie's terrible. No, this Ellie's amazing. This was really just a great recreation of the game, and been loving it. Looking for a new mobile game to cover. So I've been covering Limbus Company. For those of you that know Limbus Company, it is a Steam game. It is also a mobile game. However, the CPM for Limbus Company is really low. So what CPM is kind of like how we generate revenue through YouTube. And while I'm not getting a ton of views right now, and I'm not insanely popular in Limbus Company, that is something I'm paying attention to. I do want to cover games with a little bit higher viewership, higher CPM. Even though I love Limbus Company, I'll probably still be covering it, just doing a little bit less, and just doing news, kind of like I did with Ni no Kuni. But I'm looking for another mobile game. So if you guys have other mobile games coming out, like I know Honkai Star Rail's coming out sometime, Blue Protocol's coming out sometime, Diablo 4 at the end of the month, but I'm really just looking for a game I could enjoy now, and cover now and really have fun with it. So let me know down in the comments what you guys are playing, if it is a mobile game, because I literally am playing Seven Nights 2, and I don't cover Seven Nights 2 at all. That's just like my fun mobile game, right? But yeah, find me a mobile game, guys. I want to cover the mobile games you're playing. I just don't know what you guys are playing and what's coming out right now. So anyway, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your morning, and I will catch you guys next time.